The accident. Captain Squall frees me from the chair, cutting the restraints around my ankles, but leaving my hands bound. He nudges me toward the door. "We aren't going anywhere without Nicholas," I say. He looks over his shoulder and then back at me like I've lost my mind. "Move your ass, sailor!" "Not without Nicholas," I repeat. "He's not coming!" Craning my neck as far as I can, I try to pass a brave smile on to Nicholas. "Thank you for trying," I say. "I'm sorry I couldn't save you." Nicholas says something I can't hear as Captain Squall pushes me outside. He keeps a tight grip on the zip tie binding my wrists together as we step into the blinding light. We arrive at the mobile station Dr. Finkenberg set up to take frontline wounded. Corpsman Squall is restocking the gear in the back of his M997 Humvee ambulance in anticipation of something truly historic. Searching for Nicholas and finding no sign of him, I'm overcome with concern. My sudden sentimentality is puzzling. Nicholas isn't real. I shouldn't be worried about him, especially not now with what's about to happen all over again. I should be figuring out how I'll get away from my captor and get through this ordeal, and I realize it isn't logical. I'm scared to death I've killed Santa Claus. "They ordered a total evacuation," Dr. Finkenberg says. "The men have been told if they see anyone, they should assume they're hostile. All of Fallujah is a battle zone. Over 13,000 coalition troops will surround the city. They'll go house to house and eventually meet somewhere in the middle. I've been told to prepare for up to 30% casualties." The corpsman tries to contemplate what he's just been told. If the only people left are bad guys, why not just bomb the city? Spare our losses. The doctor's eyebrows raised to punctuate the sardonic edge of his statement. "They're on the hunt for high-profile prisoners. Zarqawi, a couple others." I turn to my captor and say, "If you already know what I need to do, why go through the motions? Why can't you just tell me and we can skip to the part where I make the change?" Captain Squall spits his words into my face. "Because you don't see things the way I do yet." He pushes me into the back of the ambulance, hopping in beside me. The engine roars to life as the doors slam shut. We leap forward in time once again. Corpsman Mank sits in the back with us, doing her best to clean and disinfect the litters for the next round of injured as the vehicle bumps its way through the bombed-out city streets. Through the windshield, I can see we're heading back toward the frontline hospital. Captain Squall is behind the steering wheel. The passenger seat is occupied by PFC Jackson, who's pulling security duty for the medical team. Jackson and Mank are both on their first deployment and look up to Corpsman Squall. They're green and have each privately expressed concern about the mission. Knowing their driver was here for Operation Vigilant Resolve gives them courage. Even if Corpsman Squall has kept his experience to himself, he has offered up a litany of advice. Keep your rifle handy. Complacency kills. Don't make assumptions. A wound can be a lot worse or a lot better than what you can see with your eyes. I look at my phone. It's Wednesday, November 10th, 2004. This is it. Dear God, this is it. Mank moves between her colleagues. "Squall, do you want to try to get your brother on the radio? Wish him a happy Marine Corps birthday?" "Not just that," Corpsman Squall says, chuckling. "It's his actual birthday, too." "Oh, really?" Jackson asks. "How old is he?" 24. "Then you have to get him on the horn. No one wants me singing happy birthday on the radio during the biggest skirmish since Nam's Hue City." Mank shakes her head. "I don't know about that. You've got a pretty good voice." Jackson adds, "I'll take the wheel if you want to strum on that guitar of yours." Don't tempt me. A call comes over the radio. As Corpsman Squall turns to answer, Jackson draws a sharp intake of air, uttering a nonverbal grunt. The Humvee turns wide, crashing into some wreckage, flipping and landing hard on its side. Corpsman Squall is wrenched out of his seat. His wounded shoulder twists unnaturally in its socket. He's beaten and battered, left bruised and bloody. The radio's persistent call slowly overpowers the ringing in my ears. The voice is insistent. It's an urgent request for a medevac, but there are no birds available, and the ambulance isn't going anywhere. When Corpsman Squall hears the call sign, clear and unambiguous, his heart stops cold in his chest. Captain Squall kicks open the doors of the ambulance. Ducking down and pulling me along with him, he drags me to a heap of burning wreckage. "Again," he says. "The accident?" Growing angry now, Captain Squall pushes the hood down over my head. Images flash through my mind. A frightened boy, his arm a broken wing, his eyes filled with fear. My captor rips the hood away, and I see the accident play out once more. The ambulance swerves to avoid hitting the young boy who's standing in the street. It strikes a parked car, setting off an IED, launching into the air. The child, the street kid I found at the onset of the first battle for Fallujah, dives for cover. "And now," Captain Squall says, "you should know what you have to do." A dust storm blows in as the captain bores into me with his eyes. I watch as the boy takes a final glance at the ambulance and runs away. "That's not how it happened," I say. "There was no kid."
"You hit your head, blocked out the memory. It doesn't matter. This is how it always was."
"It's not what happened," I repeat. "Why are you fucking with my head like this?" Captain Squall pushes me hard, and I lurch forward to keep from falling on my ass.
"This is how you save Chris," he says. "It's one life for another. It isn't a sin. It's how war works."
"I can't," I say, choking on the words.
"What did you say?"
"I can't." "You can." As he says this, I see past his rough facade. His eyes tell me everything I need to know. Behind his war paint and bravado, Captain Squall is still just me. He slams his fists into my chest.
"He died because you were late. And you were late because you turned that wheel. So you're going to do it again, and this time you're going to man up and do what has to be done."
"I won't take an innocent life."
"You heard the doctor. If you see anyone, you have to assume they're the enemy. You have the right to do this."
Absorbing his blows and bitterly shaking my head at him, I say, "This can't be the only way."
"I've studied every possible scenario, researched every available strategy. This is our only shot. Everything else results in the same outcome. But you do this, you drive right through that obstacle, and we have a 60% chance of pulling this off."
Captain Squall studies me as I think through his plan. "Like I said," I say, "I don't have any easy answers, but something tells me this is not what Chris would want us to do." The captain takes a deep, pained breath before saying,
"I should have known." Taking hold of his MK-17 and swiveling the barrel in my direction, he switches off the safety. "You could never be me."